Hi again, everybody. Tom here. I just want to acknowledge the haze. We are looking out at literally smoke suspended in the lower atmosphere from the wildfires up in Canada. This is the Taconic Range that separates upstate New York from Massachusetts and northwestern Connecticut. So let's see, from your right to my left would be Bear Mountain, Race Mountain, and just out of view, Mount Everett in Mount Washington, Massachusetts, where the Appalachian Trail goes right through. But that haze is making for some really very poor air quality. So I hope you're not exerting yourself too much as long as this around. And it's been several weeks, so that it brings up some considerations in my mind, and that is our reaction to forest fires. Now, forest fires are a very natural thing. Obviously, they've been happening for years and years and years. As a matter of fact, there are some plants, some trees that are acclimated so much to forest fire that they actually require fire, especially some pines out west, require fire to open the cones and release the seed. Require fire. And if you haven't heard about biochar is also not really a new thing in terms of how it functions, but as far as a product that's hitting the market, it's something kind of new that you should look into. Charred wood has incredible properties of holding on to water and nutrients and releasing them slowly to plants. That's what forest fires have done for millennia. It's destructive, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, it's part of nature. And by being so resistant to allowing forest fire to happen naturally, we have allowed the tinder to accumulate more than it would have normally if we were to allow fire to happen more often and less intensely. Does that make sense? And it's very controversial because property value comes into the conversation quickly. And if there was ever a man-made concept, and yes, it's mostly men who have assigned and ascribed a monetary value to land. Native peoples all over the world have not thought about land that way. They have strived to be part of the ecosystem and part of a sustainable process, including fire. I mean, native peoples have burned forests intentionally, especially the understory. And that has been not only to clear land for agriculture, but to prepare hunting grounds. And we're talking relatively small areas and controlled burns. But that material returned to the soil as char has also provided nutrition for the remaining trees, the healthiest, larger trees, most of which can sustain it when it's not that huge of a fire and not that intense of a fire. And of course, the clearing for grazing, livestock, and hunting grounds. So here we are now in 2023, not allowing fire to happen. So the tinder builds up. We heard about this when the fires happen in California, and they continue to happen. Terrible, horrible fires. But what have we done? We have put up a lot of houses, and we all want to live away from everybody else. So we're not clustered, we're spread out, and we're living in the woods. And then we're surprised when all of that tinder burns super hot, super fast, and therefore takes down the canopy with it and our houses and those of our friends and neighbors. So I don't know the answer, but I think controlled burning needs to be part of management strategy going forward. It's much more common in the Midwest and the West where they have space, but not so common here. We've also got much higher humidity, so forest fire is relatively uncommon here in the Northeast. But you got to put in that layer of climate change and global warming. Temperatures are going up. Droughts have been periodically intense here as well as in the West. So if you have a forest fire at the same time as a drought and you don't have natural rain, that's going to cause big problems. Meanwhile, Here's the haze. Here's what we're seeing. Don't breathe too much of it. Please take it easy this weekend. Get some rest. But think about that big picture. Start talking about it together. Thanks for your interest.